This video was originally going to be released earlier, but got pushed back for my Batman 2 delay video. Now that that's been covered, we can discuss what I originally planned. It's a bit of a fan theory about the Penguin series on a character that isn't on screen for very long, but could potentially play a pivotal role in this universe's narrative. That character is none other than Sofia's little cousin, Gia Viti. Before getting into Gia's essential role in potential future projects, please consider giving this video a like and hitting the subscribe button below if you enjoy what you see. While a majority of my videos have been covering the Batman and the Penguin, I plan to expand my discussions to other films and series. If there are any shows, movies, or genres you'd want me to explore in the future, make your thoughts known in the comment section below. Make sure to hit that bell so you know when my next video comes out. We're getting close to 100 subscribers, so let's not lose steam now. Thank you all for your support in helping me grow my channel along with this community. You are the reason this is possible. Don't worry, I won't delay this any further. With that, let's jump in. Now, Gia Viti may come off as a very minor character in terms of screen time. However, fellow Penguin viewers understand her importance in relation to Sofia. Gia reflected the innocence of Sofia's past and the tragedy of repeating a vicious generational cycle. Sofia fought valiantly to not be like her father, but became the very man she despised to Gia.
Gia, I loved your mom and dad. I know you want someone to blame, but it was nobody's fault. It was a terrible accident. Do you understand?
It's a tragic realization Sofia experiences, knowing that her vengeance against the rest of the Falcones has institutionalized the one family member she spared. Seeing her cousin at the children's home, along with the self-inflicted cuts on her arm, Sofia decides to give Gia something her father didn't: the truth.
It might sound confusing, and I know that it hurts. But your mom and your dad, everyone in our family, they were bad people who deserved it. And I am glad that they're gone.
Instead of continuing to gaslight Gia like her father and other family members did to her, Sofia reveals her true feelings about their family while also attempting to redirect Gia's outlook for the better. Of course, this will hardly change the trauma Gia has already endured. The damage is done, and Gia will forever view Sofia as a monster the same way Sofia does her father. That scene in episode 7 is the last we see of Gia Viti in The Penguin, but I have a theory that Gia will become a bigger player in the future. Based on the last scene with her alone, it's too open-ended for the writers to not at least be brainstorming how Gia will affect the story moving forward. Now, I don't think my theory will happen, but it would be a great reveal. To give you an idea of what this theory with Gia is, let's look at a film that wasn't viewed very positively. It's the very lengthy title starring Harley Quinn, but called Birds of Prey. While Harley was the main character for some reason, there's a character that barely had any screen time, but had a more compelling backstory, making her so interesting that viewers have stated they would have preferred her as the protagonist over Harley. This small character in the film was born into a wealthy family, but her whole family was murdered when she was very young and has grown up to seek vengeance on the people responsible. This character was none other than Huntress from Birds of Prey, and she seems to have a relatively similar story as Gia. Of course, not everything is one-to-one, and Huntress in Birds of Prey had her family killed over that gem MacGuffin the villain is after in the movie, I don't know. The point is, I see enough parallels in Huntress's backstory that can be implemented onto Gia's character in the future in Matt Reeves' Batverse. Growing up in a wealthy family? Check. Character's whole family was murdered? Sofia may be family by blood, but all members of her family she cared for were killed. Becoming a trained assassin to seek vengeance on the person who killed her family? Well, Gia hasn't reached that stage yet, but I think it would be so poetic if she did, and Reeves can do Huntress's character justice. The vicious cycle Carmine put into motion would continue in the form of Gia Viti as Huntress. Gia hates Sofia more than anybody else she knows. She took away her parents, her family, her home, and sent her to a miserable orphanage. I believe it makes perfect sense for Gia Viti to become Huntress and seek out revenge against Sofia. With that in mind, I don't want Sofia's character to die anytime soon. Kristen Milioti killed it in The Penguin, and I'd like to see much more of her, if possible, before taking out the character. I was pondering who would make the most sense to off Sofia if she was going to be killed, and I immediately thought Gia, of course. Nobody deserves to kill the hangman more than the person who has suffered the most by her hand. Unless Gia Viti is some obscure character in the comics who becomes a different hero or villain, having her take on the persona of Huntress can be a compelling tie-in with her origin secretly linked to the Penguin series. People would go crazy with a reveal down the line in any future project where we find out Huntress is Gia after all these years. I know this isn't comic book accurate, but Sofia isn't exactly either, and Kristen nailed that role. If Huntress is a character they want to add to this universe in Gotham, Gia Viti makes the most sense to me. This also kills two birds with one stone. Gia's character develops into Huntress, so the story Birds of Prey briefly conveyed about the character can be done justice. It was so disappointing how interesting Huntress's backstory was just to shove her in the background again in the movie. We can provide Huntress the time she deserves by connecting the character to Gia Viti. Their stories are similar enough to be plausible. I know some of you that watched Birds of Prey would have liked to see more of Huntress, and I think Gia Viti's current predicament is the perfect motivation to transform this young girl into a future vengeful assassin. As I said earlier, I highly doubt future DC projects will make Gia Viti Huntress even if they bring her back down the line. It's just a fan theory and an idea that can expand a character moving forward. Huntress not having the screen time she deserved, combined with what happened to Gia in The Penguin, just makes a compelling combination that can work if executed correctly. It also matches so well with the cycle of vengeance between her and Sofia, as well as a poetic way to kill off the hangman. The one family member she spared being the one who eventually kills her would be beautifully tragic. There's a lot they can work with if this is somehow the direction they're going. If you're listening, DC, implement ideas like this in spin-offs between now and the Batman Part 2. There should be some type of content in the meantime during this long-ass delay for the sequel. I appreciate all of you taking the time to listen to my Huntress fan theory. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think it would make sense for Gia to grow up and turn into Huntress, or could you see her becoming another DC character? Be sure to tell me, and while you're at it, hit the like and subscribe button for more content like this. Until next time.